Well, well, well. Welcome to the frickin' gaming symposium, losers. Got a slice of pizza and some leftover coffee. Also, apologies if you can hear some fucking loud-ass shit in the background, because, I didn't realize that they changed when the fucking landscapers in my neighborhood show up. So, if you hear somebody using a leaf blower and a lawnmower and, like, hitting a hammer really loud, and also my dog going nuts at these people doing this in my backyard, and it gets picked up on mic, it's because I forgot how calendars work. If this continues to be a problem, we might move Philosophy Fridays to Philosophy Mondays. Like, can you hear my dog right now? Philosophize every day, or else. Dog inaudible? Okay, that's good. That's good. I won't lie, though. It's a little distracting for me, because I can hear him. He's very loud. He's a husky mix. There are no dogs. Remember, dogs cannot happen. Well, he's very old. He isn't audible because he's very old. Although, he has quite the voice, I'm not gonna lie. Dogs are not real and you haven't seen one, or the dogs that you have seen are but shadows of the true formal dogs. Can I make the dog inaudible? I have a little spritz bottle on my desk that says Senile Dog Anti-Barking Training Device, but I haven't had to use it today, thankfully. He's also old as fuck. He is like 150 in dog ears. Can you let us hear the dog? I don't think the cord on my microphone goes that long. Dude, he's the oldest, most like fucked uppest looking dog. Like his hips don't really work too good anymore. He's got like big old benign tumors all over him. He seems happy as a clam, but he's just like he looks really fucked up and it's cute. He's a we don't really know what he is, but he's like his mom was a husky and his dad was like whatever. He looks a lot like he looks kind of like a giant pit bull or a Rhodesian Ridgeback. The dog who's seen it all. Coming this summer. My old as fuck loud tumor dog is stupid and barks at people trying to cut bushes. Fox Entertainment presents My Loud as Fuck Tumor Dog. My dog is kind of falling apart, but it's okay because he's loved. He is! Like, for a dog as big as he is, he should not have survived this long. Like, this dude should have died in the last Trump administration. Like, I was thinking about this last night. Like, I have more than mourned this dog. We got the extended warranty on this boy. If he dies tomorrow, it's like this has been nothing but victory laps. This dog should not have survived this long. For a husky mix, he's like 15. He looks it too. Like, yeah, he's like 15 years old. Like, it's crazy how old he is. He looks super fucked up though. What was the other half? We don't know. Like, it's the Pipple, Ridgeback, something. Like, we genuinely have no idea. Palpatine dog. Kinda, yeah. He's got trouble going up the stairs and stuff, and he kind of wobbles when he walks, but he seems happy as a clam. Lives a long fucking time for his size. Well, he's got that kind of... I know huskies are loud, but he's got that kind of... You know how beagles kind of resonate when they bark? It's like they're an actor projecting. That's kind of how he sounds when he barks. Like, I think there's some beagle in him, because he's loud as fuck. He's not really an Aruru dog. He's like a woo, woo, woo type dog. He may be a dog, but he's kind of goated, actually. My dog resonates, glass dog. Don't all objects resonate? Like, everything has a resonant frequency, right? I'd love to see pictures of this creature. Maybe, we'll see. Hope you've all had a good morning. We're still letting people filter in. Hope you've made yourself breakfast. You got a drink or something. We're going to play Warframe. Talk about Plotinus. Attuning my dog to the music of the spheres. Well, that's where you're wrong, Chimera Undying. All dogs are attuned to the music of the spheres. We all are. Everything is downstream of the astral motion. Tuning my piano to the dog frequency. Tuning my piano to the dog frequency. Everything is through Jesus Christ this Sunday. I mean, we're going to be talking about, like, a guy who was in dialogue with a lot of early Christianity today. Like, people weren't super sure what Christ was at this point. Although, these days, yeah, everything is through Christ. Especially this Sunday. It's like the day he laid an egg or some shit, I don't know. Explaining Plotinus to my oldest fuck dog. It's funny. I like reading things in the commercial, like TikTok TTS voice. Is this where that pseudo healthcare about vibrating healthily comes from? Kinda. Like, it's kind of like downstream of that. Like, all the people talking about healing frequencies and shit are getting they're getting a lot of the music of the spheres shit, like, third hand. Is it pronounced Plotinus or Plotinus? We don't know. We had this conversation last stream. Nobody really knows how a lot of Latin was actually pronounced. We just know how it's spelled. We can make educated guesses, but we don't really know. Plotinus. Making a homunculus of my oldest fuck tumor dog. The plot in the U.S. Okay, better question. How are you so good at the commercial terms and conditions voice? Practice. Yo, you should clone your dog! Like, unethically and stuff. Dude, I'll get, like, a syringe and I'll extract his dog essence and I'll put it into a new dog egg and hatch him again. I put tumors all over this dog, and if he lasts 100 days, he gets 1 million... Oh, wait, no, this is Mr. Beast, so... I put tumors all over this dog, and if he lasts 100 days, he gets $1 million. I'm suffering through a stomach ache, and I'm glad to have some alchemy to distract me. Well, I'm sorry, Absolix Guardian. We're not going to be talking about alchemy today. Suffer tummy ache forever. And he'll have even more tumors this time around. Scary good Mr. Beast voice. I'm a little obsessed with how that type of YouTuber talks. He kind of... This is mean, but he kind of talks like a baby. He kind of talks like a third grader. I gave this dog 1 million tumors, and if it survives for 1 week, it gets $1 million. He does kind of have an audience of like 8-year-olds and shit, so it could be intentional. Does tummy ache need hot and wet or cold and dry? I don't know. I haven't read Galen in a while. I don't want to read Galen again. That shit was boring. He does have the cadence of when a 7-year-old explains their day to me at swim lessons. Literally, that's what he sounds like. I do love it when children explain anything to you. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Because it never makes sense. It's always... I went to the store and we saw lots of things, and I had a transformer. Dude, that's fucking awesome. I love that. Right on, little man. You must balance your tumors to end the tummy ache. I don't know what the stomach is associated with in Galen. Like, I don't know what humoric thing that it is. I think it has something to do with black bile, because that's, like, digestion. I don't really know. I think it's cold and dry. Yeah, maybe it's earthy. The bile? It's weird. I think kids understand the difference between fiction and reality, but it's like fiction is just such a huge part of their life that it's involved in everything. Like, when you're a kid, going to the grocery store is like... it's inherently involved with Transformers in some way. Like, that's... Spider-Man is an integral element of going to the grocery store, you know? Kids will be like, my mom got me Paw Patrol pillows and then she cheated on my dad. Kinda. Is black bile poop? Yeah, that sounds digestive. It's like... it's not poop. It's like a pre... it's associated with some other thing in the body, but it's like considered part of poop. Like, poop is in black bile. Or, no. Black bile is what facilitates poop. Like, Galen understood that, like, feces was digested. Chyme, yeah, chyme, or however the fuck you pronounce that. That's what it is. But it's like, Galen understood that, like, feces was digested food. They totally understood that, but it was, they were interested in, like, what humoristic fluids in the body facilitated those processes. That's what he was trying to figure out. And I don't know how he thought about that. Poop alchemy. Poop alchemy. Poop alchemy. I love it when kids wear an outfit that is clearly dress-up clothes. It's so wonderful. Yeah, I love it when, like... I love it when you see a little girl out at a store and she's wearing, like, jeans and a tutu. That shit rules. Because you know it was her idea, you know? She was like, nah, this is just what I'm rocking today. I think we should embrace that. I think we should all try to have that energy. Didn't some guy try to turn poop into gold? No. Guy tried to turn pee into gold, and he ended up inventing phosphorus. That's Henning Vane. There's an amazing painting of him boiling pee and discovering phosphorus. Half the time you know it was an argument and her parents lost. I hope it's not that. You know, I hope it's just like, all right, honey, you want to wear your jean tutu today? Hell yeah. P is yellow. Clearly it's closer to gold than shit is. That, I high-key think that was actually his logic. But also, fucking urea is, like, commonly used as a solvent, and one of the really important parts of making a philosopher's stone is, like, bathing your substrate in acids and solvents like that. So it makes sense, like, even within alchemical logic that isn't just, like, funny color, also similar to gold piss. I tried poop alchemy. Hospital. Day 1 of trying poop alchemy. Hospital. Discovered a potion of teleport to ER. Yeah, kinda. There's a lot of old alchemical cures that would, like, definitely 1000% kill you if you drank them. It's like, dog, this has mercury in it. This is gonna destroy you from the inside out. TikTok TTS boy. Boiling my husband alive in urine. Discovering phosphorus by boiling my husband. Boiling my urine in dog oil for $1 million. Couldn't really blame Chinese emperors for eating mercury pills. The great sage equal to heaven did it, and he became, like, triple immortal. Yeah! It's hard not to look at mercury and want to eat it. That could not be me. Like, it looks like metal. I don't want to eat metal. I do. It looks like it has a neat texture, but I don't want to eat it. It's a fucking gray. It's fucking gray! Nice music. Is that from Warframe or something? No, this is from the Blasphemous series. I wanted Spanish guitar. Technically, they were Cinnabar pills, which is red. That is true, yes. Berry. It's not flamenco. It's just Andalusian. If I recall correctly, flamenco is a little later than this. Blasphemous' soundtrack deliberately harkens back to medieval Spanish guitar music when it was more influenced by Moorish music. I like the devil out, Barry. That could be entirely wrong. It's based on, like, one thing that I read once, and entirely possible that I'm not remembering it correctly. Don't trust me for music history shit. How's the fucking thing? Hang on. Forgot to post the Discord link. Hack streamer, hack streamer, hack streamer. Cinnabar looks like the demon drug for Monster Hunter, so it must be good for you. It is kind of berry coated. It is kind of like cherry flavored or watermelon flavored coated. Very bright, alluring luster. Alright, let me read over my notes. We can start in a second. Oh yeah. I've been thinking. I want to get some fucking emotes for the channel. What do you guys think I should have? Being the audience and all, I figure you should have some input on this. What kind of toys do you want to play with? We definitely need an EOW. Yeah. The tower. Can we get something violent? You know that gif of Elaine from Seinfeld and she's like dancing to a Kirby song like really, really fast? Tetrakiss? Maybe. I want that, but like a medieval jester. I want a dancing plague emote. The foreboding potion. Question: how magically viable is my radio telescope theory of daemons? I don't know what that means. The grinning skull. The grinning skull. The grinning skull. Mechie emote? Yeah. Dancing skeletons would be nice. Yeah. If you have two radio telescopes on either side of the Earth, you can combine them to make a radio telescope the size of the Earth. Figure the same is true for the parts of the daemon. I guess, but they don't have, like, physical size. Yes, we need an Acephalos. Ghost of Christmas Future? What even is that? Limb damage alert. It's so small. Alright. Let's kick it, gang. So, before we get into this, let me show you what we got here. Because I've been cooking. We've got some new toys to play with. I've never played any of these frames before, so we're gonna give them a shot. Who do we do first? Can we get a cutout from that one painting of Plato and Aristotle so we can post it when we're being wise? That's a good idea. I like that. Temple. Octavia's fun. This game is kind of zoomy coded. This is a fucking schmovement-ass game. Embarrass yourself live on screen. This person hasn't used Mirage Prime. I haven't owned her yet. What am I supposed to do? This is the first time I've seen her. Entirely here for the philosophy. I have no idea what this game is or what it does in it. It's a fucking peer-to-peer MMO about space ninjas. It's cool. It's a game of the patient gamer. Alright, we'll do Temple. I have a bunch of fucking platinum left over from buying Lavos Prime, so I have plenty of slots. Do all the she-her frames have boobs? No. It's actually very rare that the frames have genders, as far as I'm aware. This is Yoda game. Like, Citrine here's, like, when we talk about frames being female, this is the type of shit that we're talking about. Like, for this relative definition of female. Most of them are gendered, lol. Holy shit, that's a lot of plat. When I bought Lavos, I was like, okay, I haven't spent any money on this game, but I have, like, literally fucking, like, 1,000 hours in it. And so I'm like, okay, I can justify... I've spent so much time in this game, I can justify spending, like, $60 on getting Lavos Prime on release. And they're like, alright, here's Lavos Prime and Sato Prime and all the new shit. And also here's 2,000 plat. I was like, what the fuck? I don't need that much money. I missed the start of Greece. But Greece looks around. Alright, alright, alright. Game is kind of grease, actually. Isn't there a frame that's, like, extra greasy? Alright, shit looks cool. Oh, fuck, I need to get my garum sauce. You do need to get your garum sauce. I'm sorry, guys. I heard a loud noise from my front room. I gotta go check it out. We're all fine. The Roomba knocked over a painting that was sitting upright on the floor. And it made a super fucking loud noise. Attempt alchemy. Alright, let's see, what are we doing today? I think we're just cracking relics, because they're doing, like, some event where Barrow shows up every day, so we're just gonna be fucking, I don't know. We're gonna be grinding experience and cracking relics. How do we want to do this? Survival, defense, capture. Let's try and exterminate with this guy. Set on Warframe is around 45 plat, which is about $3. I wanted to support the devs, okay? All right, it's about that time, chat. Let's talk about fucking Plotinus. So, in our last stream, we discussed Plato and Aristotle. Remember? Yeah, you guys remember. Woo, any ads time. Yay! Yay, 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 yay! So, Plato and Aristotle were much earlier than this guy. The thing about Plotinus is that where Aristotle was around in like... Oh, whoa. Oh, does he have a fucking timing? Ugh. So, okay. The thing about Plotinus, he is significantly later than Plato and Aristotle, right? We've got... he's in the 3rd century, so born around the 200s. And he's Roman, right? Like, Rome is pretty much a thing right now. He's born as a Hellene in northern Egypt. It's not clear that he was Egyptian. One of the few MMOs out there where giving money to them doesn't feel bad. Yeah, that's very true. It's, like, Warframe really is the anti, what do you call it? Like, anti-predatory monetization game, which is part of why I feel comfortable spending money on them. So, okay. Plotinus was a Hellene, so like an ethnic Greek in Egypt. It's not clear that he ever had any connection to Egypt as an identity. He was just like a Greek through and through. And in Rome, they had been maintaining, like the emperors had been maintaining the Platonic Academy to the point where like the skeptics and the Stoics, like the successors of Plato and Aristotle had like chairs at the academy that were supported by the government. And we don't know who the chair of the academy was for the time, but we know that he was writing letters to Plotinus asking Plotinus his opinions on philosophy things. Like, that's how recognized Plotinus was at the time. He was the guy. That level of guy. Sevagoth, Tenora, Gunson. I have a million Gunsons. So he is the thing with, if you know anything about Roman history, right? The 3rd century within Rome is kind of famous. You may know the 3rd century crisis. It was a famously kind of crazy time to be a Roman. There are a lot of interesting, real bad time to be a Roman. Lots of civil wars, lots of unrest, lots of like constant, rapidly changing government things. I don't know too much about Roman history. Plotinus doesn't mention any of this. We actually have one of his major students, Porphyry, wrote a biography of him, right? And that's how we know all of this. We don't really know anything about Plato and Aristotle, but Plotinus had biographers and a lot of people who were writing with him. The whole century? Kind of the whole century. It was not a good time to be a fucking Roman in the 3rd century. Like, Plotinus doesn't mention any of this shit. As an ethnic Greek esotericist is collapsing empire, I can empathize. Yeah. Probably a slight exaggeration by contemporary historians, but it wasn't great by any means. It's just like, you're living in the decline of empire, and it was a rough time. He never mentions any of this. He was way too busy being a philosopher. So, Plotinus was the receiver of basically the entire legacy of Plato and Aristotle, or at least that's how he saw himself, or would have seen himself, you know? But it kind of extends past him. Like, even other philosophers for the time, if you were reading Plato and Aristotle, you were probably reading him through the lens of Plotinus's commentaries on Plato and Aristotle. He was the guy, you know? It was good to be a pagan, right? Right? Yeah. They were the yeah, fucking Greek pagans were exempt from all of the woes of the fall of the Roman Empire and the rise of monotheism. They were just a bunch of naked little fairies running around in the woods, talking to God, and it was perfect and idyllic, and they never had any problems. He is the guy. He is capable of being the guy. So, by this time, now that we're in the 3rd century, it's been like 400 years since Plato and Aristotle have died, right? Like we've had the entire Middle Platonist movement and Plutarch that we're not going to talk about, at least not on this stream. Thank you. I also like my voice. So, Plotinus is, all right. He's one of those philosophers where no one actually reads him because he's so fucking complicated, right? He wrote a lot of shit about a lot of shit, and it's very, very granular. He is extremely specific. He likes picking things apart. But philosophically, he likes writing about the tiny, tiny minutiae of shit. But philosophically, the term that Earl Fontenelle on the Secret History of Western Esotericism podcast uses is a lot of philosophers are divided into, what was it? It was lumpers and crackers, right? Or, no, it's not crackers. Lumpers and white people. It's like people who like to draw distinctions. There are philosophers who draw distinctions between things. They like categorizing things and putting things into lots of different little boxes, like Aristotle. And lumpers, people who like focusing on the fundamental unity of things. They lump things together. Plotinus is very, very granular, right? Everything he writes is so specific, and we'll get into that. But fundamentally, he is trying to unify things. This is the late Platonist ethos. Basically, with Plotinus, he kind of invents late Platonism. And the main theme of late Platonism is the fundamental unity of all things. And the best way to explain this is to talk about the one. And the only true statement that I can say about the one, that anyone can say about the one, is that it is the one. The one is an ultimate, hyper-transcendent concept. It is beyond being, time, language, any philosophical quality or qualia that you can assign to anything cannot be assigned to the one. It is hyper-transcendent, beyond any sort of consideration. The only true statement you can assign to the one is that it is the one. It has to be tautological. And just for an example of how granular Plotinus is, do you think a comparison to a set of sets is apt? No. The one is entirely transcendent. Math is entirely incapable of describing the one. There are no useful comparisons. It is an ultimately transcendent concept. Is it like the Tao in Taoism? No, it's not like anything. It's, again, beyond everything. Coming up with this sounds like cheating. Well, to a lesser philosopher, it would be, because Plotinus is trying to unify Plato and Aristotle. We've talked about that on the last stream, right? We've got the world of forms and the mechanical world, right? If the world is just a shadow of the true formal universe, but also it's just atoms and void bumping into each other by mechanistic rules. How are these things united? And the way that you do that requires some pretty serious philosophical elbow grease. Now, to get into this, you've got to talk about the people that were, let's say, Plotinus's contemporaries, because around this time, you kind of have the birth of monotheism, right? This is when Judaism is in its like full force apocalypticism. the Jewish Christians have now become Christianity, although they haven't really become Pauline Christianity quite yet. So the Christians are still, they consider themselves Christians. They are Christians, but they're trying to figure out what it means to be Christian. And there's a lot of writing about, what does it mean to be God, right? How does God work? Because a lot of the guys before Plotinus, they were trying to discuss God in the sense of, like, okay, is it a logical matrix that shapes the world? Is it a transcendent mind? Is it the source of all things? Is it the fire? Is it the prime mover that kicked the entire universe into motion just by fact of its existence? Is it a sentient thing that created the world, right? And the more you start talking about that and having arguments about this, the more you start having to draw distinctions. Like, well, they're all God, but the version of it that's the shaping matrix of nature, we're going to call that the logos. And the version of it that is a sentient thing, we're going to call that the nous. And we're going to, you end up with a lot of different kind of masks that God has, a lot of different heads with different properties, but it's all the same body, trust me. And Plotinus thought that was fucking stupid. He's like, it's God. It's the thing that everything comes from, right? Like, I think, and this is me doing some interpretation of myself, I think Plotinus saw descriptions, like the idea that you could describe different aspects of God as a little bit, like, arrogant in a way. Or if you want to do that, it requires an enormous amount of work, right? You gotta be focused on doing a lot of different shit. It requires a lot of formal logic and argumentation and picking apart what exactly it is you're saying. Now, just to give you an example of how granular descriptions is almost limitations. Not even limitations, they're inadequate. Like, you can't, like, it's just not enough. It's not that it's limiting, because that would imply that the one can be contained within words, that's ridiculous. Just for an example of this, the major work that we have from Plotinus is called the Enneads, which was not technically written by Plotinus. It's the collected works of Plotinus that were organized into these sets of 9 discourses. That's what Ennead means. It means the nineness, or the groups of 9, by his student Porphyry, who basically organized all of his work into these discourses, these monologues, as it were. And he spends 2 sections of an entire Ennead on the application of the word the to the one. In classical Greek, it's tohen, right? The one. And it's this concept isn't one, it's the one. You always have to put the on. He spends basically an entire Ennead talking about how even applying the word to tohen is inadequate and doesn't really describe the one. Because, okay, you have this ultimate transcendent thing that is completely beyond language. If you're going to talk about it, you have to make some linguistic and philosophical sacrifices. You have to say, in some circumstances, okay, for all intents and purposes, the pointing finger is the moon, right? This is as close as we can get. But, where you draw those distinctions is very important to Plotinus. Where exactly you draw those distinctions, how close you can get to applying descriptions to the one, is that's one of the major elements of Platonist philosophy of late Platonism, specifically of Plotinus, right? Yeah, we got a good question in chat. I'm trying to read and shoot at the same time. Was Porphyry drawing on the Ennead of Egyptian religion when organizing it into 9? Is hard to say, right? A lot of things are 9-shaped, and at this point, Egyptian culture and Hellenic culture had, like, crossed over a lot, so it's hard to say if that was an explicit evidence or not. That's so Iamblichus pilled? Well, no, Iamblichus was, if I recall correctly, I believe Iamblichus was Plotinus pilled. Isn't that all things? Like, you can't describe anything adequately, the 1/8 special? No, you can describe things, like, plenty adequately. Like, I can say that I can give names to red, it's just the color red. Sure, there's things that we can discuss it, but red isn't beyond language. We can have a conversation about, like, that apple is red, and you know what I'm talking about, right? That knowledge is meaningfully transferable, right? It's not just that words are insufficient. The essential forms we could have knowledge of do not apply to the one, right? Yes. Like, okay. So if we have this, how exactly does this completely, utterly transcendent the one fit into reality? Like, okay, so we've got this concept of the one. Like, what the fuck are we, then? So, the one? Okay. The one is transcendent of all properties and qualities, but it gives rise. It has internal properties. It is timeless, formless, and changeless. It is perfect and imperfect. It contains all possible qualities. But it has an internal structure that is itself, like, also ineffable, also truly ineffable. And so it is a completely transcendent thing that, because of its transcendence, because of its, like, ineffability, is constantly on the verge of having properties, of developing properties, without ever actually developing them. It exists without existing. The way that Plotinus develops for talking about Tohen, the One, is he turns to a tradition of apophasis, literally a Greek word meaning unsaying. Like, the One exists, but it does not exist. It contains all properties, but it does not contain any properties. These paradoxes, this unsaying, is one of the closest ways that you can get to discussing the One, right? So the One is constantly on the verge of having properties, but doesn't actually have them, right? If it has properties, it's not the One anymore, right? So that constant flux, that internal property of the One, that it is constantly almost not the One, is a concept that Plotinus calls, and this is one of my favorite philosophy terms of all time. It creates a concept called the pre-noetic efflux. And then that is a kind of event horizon of knowability, right? Everything beyond this is the One. Everything on this side of the pre-noetic efflux is the nous. Is transcendence itself not a property? Don't mistake the word transcendence and what you imagine transcendence to be for a property of the One, right? This is what I mean, where it's like Plotinus gets weird. The most transcendent thing that you can imagine in your brain, that is possible for a human to imagine in your brain, is insufficient for describing the One. So this pre-noetic efflux is a sort of philosophical horizon line, right? I am not him. I've never been him. I will never continue to be him. Yeah, you're getting it. I'm inclined to draw similarities to what exists outside of the universe at the edge of the universe's expansion. Astrophysics into this is probably not useful. Okay, it's not useful for ways that we're going to discuss in a second, right? Even while talking about this, we're having to translate it across languages, which makes it even easier to describe here, of course. Well, actually, Classical Greek is like a way better language for philosophy. It's like so much better for philosophy than English. They must have amnesia and not have amnesia. They forgot that I am him and not him. Exactly. So the one is beyond understanding, that if you would be able to understand or describe it, is no longer the one. Well, no, the one doesn't change, right? You're just not describing the one. You've never described the one. So this pre-noetic efflux gives rise to nous, which is usually translated as, it's a Greek term, usually translated as intellect or mind. That's not what that means, right? The term nous, in basically every thing that you can ever read about Plotinus ever, is left untranslated, because what ancient Greek people mean by mind and intellect is completely different than what we modern philosophers mean by that term, right? The nous in Plotinus is the highest god, right? When you talk about, like, our conception of a monotheistic god, that's what nous is, right? A sort of omniscient intellect, or omniscient nous. So no more describing it as mind or intellect. It's just the nous, right? There is no interiority of mind in nous. See, okay. It's less that nous has no interiority, and more that the action of nous, the thing nous does, is interiority, if that makes sense. Like, are terms like nous and the one interchangeable in this concept? No. The tohen gives rise to nous. That, like, basically, imagine a graph, right? You've got, at the top, you've got tohen. And then below that, you've got nous, and in between them there's a line. That's the pre-noetic efflux, right? Everything beyond that line is the one. Like, there's just the one, and everything beyond that line is nous, right? Emanation, then? No, we're going to talk about that. So, all right. I'm supposed to be playing Warframe right now. How am I doing on Temple? Let me see here. Let's go to Deimos. Is it like a Mobius strip, both inside and outside in one plane? Okay, it's more like the event. It's like the event horizon of a black hole. That's, like, the best way I can describe that. So, like, don't try to imagine the one and nous as contiguous things. It's not like the boundary between the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, where it's like, it's all the same water, but like they're separate as, like, geographical locations, but they're also the same thing because it's all just the ocean. Don't try to assign any continuity between the two. You will just trip over yourself and get it wrong. Like, remember, language is ineffective for describing the one. Don't try to draw any sort of interconnectivity here. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. You definitely won't, right? It's completely transcendent. So nous is in some way defined in a way that would be impossible for the one. Well, it's more like nous is the... It's like nous is the... This is one of the trickiest parts. You can't see what's inside, but the nous is a sort of shape to it. Okay. Let's paper over this for a second. Let me ask you this. Where is your mind located, right? When I say that, you generally think of it as behind your eyes in some way, like it's your brain. It's located within your body, and out there in the real world, beyond your eyes, the pineal gland, duh. Out there, beyond your eyes, is the world, full of things that you can know about, and then your brain has, like, a big archive in it where it can store facts and experiences. That's not how Plotinus thought anything worked, right? You are You are the nous, right? Everything that you do and see is a component of nous, or it's more like... All right. This is a tricky one. Bear with me here. The thing that Plotinus... One of the things that Plotinus does that really pissed off basically every other person in the 3rd century... Why are there 2 of you? I don't know what you're talking about. Never felt so blind guy elephant metaphor. This is the most blind guy elephant metaphor thing in all philosophy, right? Like, he influenced Kant, he influenced Schopenhauer. Like, Kant is basically just this plus Descartes, right? Like, it's all blind men, it's all elephants. None of us can actually understand this. Like, okay. Plotinus's philosophy is performative in the sense that, like, not in the sense that he's, like, pretending, but in the sense that there's no, like, baby version of Plotinus. Everything that I'm telling you about Plotinus is not actually Plotinus. He is completely and fully of the opinion... Oh shit, I forgot to put mods on Temple. He is of the opinion that you can't actually... You have to sit down and actually read the Enneads, or you don't understand what Plotinus is saying. The action of sitting down and reading the Enneads is not only, like, is literally, metaphysically essential to understand Neoplatonism. It's not just like a thing that he wrote so he could disseminate knowledge into the world. You actually have to sit down and read the Enneads cover to cover. Would the nous be similar to the substantial form in Aristotelian metaphysics? Yes. The nous is kind of like basically everything that Plotinus says is going to be similar to something from Plato or Aristotle, but Plotinus also has his weird normal, like his weird own version of it. Good hustle for getting book sales. You know it, brother! That's right, idiots! You're trapped in a marketing scheme! I'm just telling you all this philosophy so that I can sell you more philosophy. Get fucking punked. Is reading a translation of the Enneads the same as reading the Enneads? Plotinus would say no, but I would say yes. Because I think reading translations of his philosophy is very interesting, and it almost always is, like, full of untranslated passages and talking about the nuances of Greek terminology, so I think it's actually kind of, like, it's actually a little easier in some ways. I nous like Schopenhauer's will, but less Schopenhauer. I haven't read Schopenhauer. I don't know. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about there. Philosophy was invented by philosophers to sell you more philosophy. Exactly. So, okay. If you're a fan of early Christianity, you may know Plotinus from... actually, let's not talk about that yet. Okay. You've got nous, which is like basically when people talk about God, that's what they're talking about. It's the highest mind, right? The highest intellect. That's nous. Which then gives way... Nous is kind of like a big fabric. Like, take a scarf, right? If you take a scarf, you kind of wrap it around your head, or you wrap it around your neck on a chilly day, it's now no longer just a strip of fabric. It's a scarf, but the scarf hasn't actually changed. But the shaping of it has given it form, right? Although forms are located in nous, this is a bad metaphor. That gives us suke, or soul, right? Soul is basically like the part of you that considers yourself you, right? Okay, I've wrapped my big scarf around my head. Now what? Well, you've got a suke now, right? Like classical, like Platonist metaphysics is like you've got matter in a form, you've got a fucking body. Well, below suke, that's where you've got matter, and matter in Neoplatonism is kind of a hungry ghost. It desires form, right? And so it's constantly trying to return to nous, to reach out to nous and touch it, and assume forms And this whole thing is a process which creates the universe, right? Although, it's important to say, wait, can you read classical Greek? A little bit, I've been working on it. Shit, I'm not getting any reacting. Where the fuck is everybody? Okay. It's important to remember this entire thing, like the one, nous, tsuke, these things aren't affected by time. You may be, if you're stupid and ambitious and an idiot and you're drooling all over yourself, you might think that this is emanation. No, dumbass. Even though everyone talks about Neoplatonism like it's the emanation theology, this actually isn't emanation. You've been tricked. Because this actually isn't a process. It's a trans-chronological state of unchanging existence that transcends being and time. Nothing has actually changed. Yeah, look at you, idiot, drooling all over yourself. Good luck getting a beautiful woman to talk to you after this blunder. This guy thought Neoplatonist metaphysics was emanation. Womp womp. But all the early Christians and like Jews at the time they were all reading this shit and they were applying it to their theology. That's where we get emanation. Plotinus doesn't have any emanation, right? That's not a thing he ever does. Wow, I fucking flubbed this. Good thing I don't need any of these. Thomas Aquinas, my good friend. Bonaventure, my bad friend. Aquinas compared to the other guys doing Neoplatonism, Aquinas is fucking baby mode. That's not a real gamer. So this isn't emanation, but emanation is kind of this. Emanation is what you get when you apply this to monotheism, right? Is emanation kind of a response to there being before creation, which Platonism doesn't believe in? That's a good way of putting it, actually. Like, Plotinus was very into, okay, it's an utterly transcendent thing. Why does it have to obey laws of fucking time? Like, Judaism and Christianity have this kind of baked in because literally the first lines of Genesis are like, God did all this shit over the course of a couple days, that then God did this. Like, obviously, time is a component of Genesis, right? But emanation is really just a type of creation mythology. It's just like a being that by existing, results in reality by kind of flowing into it, and as a natural consequence of its existence forms reality, as opposed to a creation story in which a transcendent being creates something, like the universe. Early this period of Judaism, this period of Christianity, they liked both of those things, but they are... Plotinus is not that. None of this is actually a process. It is a changeless, timeless process. It is a state. And a lot of this can be done because of... He loved the prime mover, though. But that's Plato. Okay, you're having a whole conversation in chat, and I'm butting into it because I'm reading it. So... Okay, what was I talking about? Fucking, Plotinus. So... Yeah, okay, all of this is all of this is possible because of quirks of ancient Greek language. Like, you've all heard the term gnosis before, right? Like, it is both a process and a state, right? Yeah, dude, this is where Kabbalah comes from. Like Kabbalah is just like this applied really, really heavily to Judaism with a bunch of Jewish mysticism. So gnosis is both a process and a state, right? You can perform gnosis, but you can also be in a state of gnosis. That is very much how Plotinus thinks about all this shit, right? It's a state, but it's also a process. It's kind of a loop that you do, but time isn't really involved, right? It's beyond time. That's how all this shit works until you have matter. Once you've created matter, like once you're down at the level of matter, you have time and disparity and all that shit. And what you've got to remember about all of this is that it's material. Nous isn't like a plane of existence or a concept. Nous is a thing. Like it's a thing that you can put in a cup theoretically, right? You need like a weird formal cup, but you could put it in a cup. All of this is it's either like it has form, right? A big old cup of nous. So, okay, this is one of my favorite things about Platonian philosophy. Where does evil come from in this? Like, okay, if you have this perfect, transcendent, changing and unchanging one that then, like, effluxes into nous, and thus, like, the world of forms, which then creates souls, which is the medium between it and matter, where does evil come from? Well, okay. It's all just the one. There is a remember how it's Tohen, the one? The entirety of existence is constantly, don't talk to me until I've had my piping hot cup of morning nous. Exactly. All of this is in a constant state of henosis, right? A state of oneness and re-onenessification. A constant... it's constantly regressing into the one, as it were. That's a bad term for it, but it's... I'm trying to play Warframe and talk about Plotinus at the same time. Give me a break here. So it's all constantly undergoing a henosis. But sometimes things act in discordance with the fundamental oneness of all things, right? So imagine... So where does evil come from? Why do bad things happen to good people? Imagine if one in every quadrillion, like, electrons didn't follow the laws of physics. Like, they just kind of snapped off of their carbon molecule and then flew off into space against the laws of physics. Well, if that happens, like, if you act out of accordance with the fundamental harmony of all things, it creates like a pocket in reality that is now shooting arterially back towards the nous. And imagine injecting an air bubble into your bloodstream, right? You've got this pocket of air that then travels back into your heart and causes a thrombosis and fucks up your heartbeat. That's what evil is. Right? It's not material, right? There's no material evil. You can't have a cup of evil, but you can have a cup of nothing, and that's discord. So if for some reason an atom decides to not follow the laws of physics, someone's baby dies and they have a miscarriage. That's how it works. If something acts disharmoniously, when it's traveling back to the nous, when it's like regressing back to Tohen, there's a little hiccup in reality. Or there's a little bit of a place where reality is not. And it has to there's a little hair fraction where it has to readjust, and that's where evil comes from. I like that a lot. I think that's super cool. Is back propagation a good word? No, there's no good words for this. It's infinitely regressing into the one and going against its henosis. It's like a weird neo-Pythagorean thing. Why'd it do that? Is it stupid? Well, yeah, it fucking should have, it should have recognized the fundamental, like, henosis at the heart of all things, right? Evil is in people being evil or just bad stuff happening? Both. So... matter is kind of fundamentally stupid. Yes. Although it's not evil. Like, matter itself is not evil. It's just not the one. It's prone, like, matter, like, nous and the one can't actually contain evil, really, but like this sort of henatic disharmony on its way back through matter towards the one causes ripples in matter, which causes people to suffer, right? Why does evil have any relevance in a system like this? Well, it exists, right? It's a metaphysics. He's trying to explain what God is and how the universe works. So you eventually have to explain how evil works, right? So, okay. One of the things that really pissed people off about Plotinus was that basically before him, you had Plotinus and Aristotle, and they were like, there's a concept of like the descent of the soul, right? You're down here in the world of Tsuke, and holistic field. This isn't Gnosticism, all right? This is Neoplatonism. It's not Gnosticism. He hated the Gnostics. We'll talk about that in a second. Don't get it twisted, all right? So, all right. They believed in a descent of the soul, right? You exist down here in Tsuke and matter, and like you don't really have access to the world of forms. You can kind of reach up sometimes, maybe get some knowledge of it, but you can't actually like touch the world of forms. And basically everyone after Plotinus was like, yeah, no, there's a higher world, and it's inaccessible to us. We can theorize about it with knowledge. But you can't actually like see it, you know? Plotinus disagreed. His most controversial addition to philosophy was, as far as I'm aware, a truly unique addition by him. People are like, okay, well, there's the one, and there's the great nous. These all sound fantastic. These all sound like wonderful things. How do I go talk to it? You know, theurgy was a big thing at the moment. It was like putting yourself into ritual trances and going up to talk to the Godhead. Plotinus says that's not necessary, right? He says mysticism to Plotinus is a bunch of bullshit, right? Because you aren't separate from the one. You never have been. What you think of as you is actually just the feet of your actual soul. It's a tiny sliver of your actual being. You extend all the way up the scale of being, all the way up into the one. You've never been separate from it, right? It's always been you. So true. Dude, real. Sounds kind of like Brahmin, but I'm not super smart. Well, Porphyry says that he traveled to India and talked to the Gymnosophists. Yeah, yes, Plotinus is anti-Scala Naturae. It was super controversial for the time. Basically, no one agreed with him on this, but he said, like, no. It's like, there's no scale you have to climb. You're just, like, you have a fundamental oneness with the one. People thought that was ridiculous because it was like, okay, well then where the fuck does individuation come from? How do you know, like, you can see an apple, like, I'm not this apple, clearly you're not this apple, like, I'm different from this apple because I don't know what it's like to be this apple, and Plotinus says, you're a fucking idiot. You actually do know what it's like to be that apple. Modern people think that you're actually an identity, like, behind your eyes, like, in a brain. That's dumb. You are a nous you are nous and you have a body. When you see a tree, you're not recognizing a form and processing it. Those are both things within nous, and they are interacting with each other like your heart and your lungs pumping your blood. It's all you. You're not actually recognizing something you're not adding something to a sort of mental archive. You are calling something in your noetic archive that is already there. Why are we not God then, Plotinus? That is an excellent question, chatter. You know, all right, Plotinus, if we're constantly undergoing this process of henosis and we're not actually separate from the one, how come I don't have superpowers, right? How come I don't know things? Well, because We are separate from the one. That world of nous and suke and forms and matter, it's full of errors, right? There's a lot of, like, there is nous, but it's all filtered through your body, right? Like, you are your body. You don't know what it's like to, you don't know what it's like to be your lungs, right? You only know what it's like. The thing you consider you only knows what it's like to have its sensory experience of the world filtered through your body. But that doesn't mean it's confined to your body, right? So, how do you get out of this, right? How do you extend your noetic experience beyond the human? Noesis. What that means is basically the process of knowing. Being a philosopher, right? Learning things, contemplating the universe, trying to understand and conceptualize of more knowledge is itself how you not necessarily extend up the scale. Like, you don't have a nous, right? The way that you do this is by reading Plotinus and meditating. That's basically what he says. It's very it's a little bit Vedic in that sense, where there's like, he talks about the value of just like reading a bunch of Plotinus and then sitting down and just kind of thinking about it, kind of relaxing, lying down, closing your eyes, thinking about it. You got to be on that noesis grind set, which involves a lot of lying down, you know. Kind of funny how that works, you know? Like, oh, how do you talk to the Godhead? You read my book. That's also Kabbalah again. Kinda. Kabbalah's got a bunch of other stuff in it. This is a little more like, it's a little rougher, you know? Philosophers are always like, to understand, you must be a philosopher like me. And you got to buy my book, right? You got to understand me. Although, to be entirely fair, Plotinus had a little bit of a better claim to that, because like, he was the guy. He was the authority on Plato. So it's like, I don't understand this passage of Plato. Who do I ask about it? Plotinus. You got to go ask Plotinus, right? Like, he has a little bit of clout here. Isn't that the same thing? It isn't the same thing at all, but this reminds me of how Sun Tzu is just whoever listens to Sun Tzu will win. Yeah, kind of. We've never really gotten past that, you know? So, if you're a fan of Gnosticism, you may know our boy Plotinus from... Actually, why don't we take a little break? Why don't we go to the bathroom, get yourself some water, been talking for a while, stand up, give yourself a stretch. We'll talk about Gnosticism when I'm back from the break. And actually, I'm a little bit back. And it's kind of awesome. Did we send this message, or was the question already known? Wait, hold on. Dude! Oh, he's like a character. He's actually awesome. I will meditate on why the star background has one plane of stars that move and one plane that stays completely still. You can thank James 7T, who is the demiurge. Demiurge 7T. So how does the one relate to the backrooms, which is also infinite and unknowable? Well, you can't actually walk around in the one, right? There's 70? Where does Jane get to be the demiurge? I don't know, Sophia said so. We don't have choice. Nothing real. Okay, what are his actual abilities? Passive. Play abilities in sync with the backbeat metronome to invigorate ability effects while increasing ability efficiency by 50%. Okay. So he's got like got an Octavia timing mechanism. Pyrotechnics. Blast heated enemies with pillars of heat damage. Even more pillars increases the duration. Cool. Overdrive. Drive loudspeakers into epic distortion to create a damaging wave of heat damage while also increasing vulnerability to critical chance. Oh, interesting. Backbeat timing. Doubles critical chance. That's pretty good. Ripper's Wail. Rip on the guitar to make Temple briefly invulnerable while healing them. Allies' weapons in affinity range are lit up with extra heat damage each time an ability is used. On the backbeat and successful hits enemies. That's pretty good. Funny thing is that apparently in terms of heat damage output, Temple is outdoing Ember? Oh my god! Exalted Solo. Oh, it's an Exalted? What? Once a charge has been built up on the backbeat metronome, set Lizzie aflame and torch enemies with heat. While aimed, Lizzie blasts enemies with thunderous elemental sound waves. Use ability controls to change the elemental damage type? What? Backbeat timing. No energy consumed! Oh my god! That's nuts! Yeah, he has an exalted flamethrower! That's cool! Does he have... Can I put toys on it? Some exalted weapons I can't put toys on. Can I put toys on it? I can! Hello! If you could give any ancient philosopher perfect knowledge of Warframe, who would be best at min-maxing? I don't know. Yomblicus? Maybe? What's this game called? This is Warframe, my friend. Can reach 100% crit chance. Oh my god. That is bonkers. Does it have a reload? Does it have a reload? Does it have a reload? Multi-shot accuracy. Okay. Whatever. Let's just slap some mods on and see what happens. I'm very thrown off by how you organize mods by name. Got real confused. I don't know why they're sorted by drain, okay? I usually sort them by rarity. No reload, continuous fire. Okay. We probably want... That's new. I haven't seen that before. When did I get this? Oh, it's a new mod! Yay! Wait, these aren't 10-foot giant robots? No, they're like meat suits that you teleport your brain into. You'll want Sinister Reach on Lizzie, by the... Okay, okay. Do I have Sinister Reach? I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Absol, don't worry. No one knows how Warframe works. Lizzie is the guitar, apparently. Wait, what about the pistol? I want to check out the pistol. Hang on. You need trait. Reloading warps. It's back into the pistol, causing a small explosion at their points of origin. That's cool. Warframe feels like a fake video game to me. Apparently it started as a fucking tech demo, but people liked it so much they were just like, can you please turn this into a whole game? And they just fucking did. Whatever. Just slap isolation on it. Whatever. Alright, where were we? Let's see, let's see. I keep getting lost because I'm talking about Plotinus, so maybe something... Maybe we should do, let's run some captures. I really just need parts for Barrow. So, oh yeah. Okay. So, back to philosophy. If you know or are a fan of early Christianity, you will know that Plotinus is particularly famous for a treatise called Against the Gnostics. You know, he was not a fan of Gnostics. And one of my favorite things to do, I've realized when preparing for these little philosophy streams, is I like to go on Blue Sky and Twitter and Google whatever, I search up whatever philosopher I'm talking about, and I look for the dumbest posts I can find, just so that I can use them as discussion questions, because it always gets me a little, like, just the right amount of heated, where I'm like, that's not what the fuck he would think about this, or like, that totally makes sense. But then it makes me like go through my notes and look for a citation to prove that I'm right. So, someone said like, Plotinus is against the Gnostics makes no sense. It's like, I don't really understand his criticisms. That's dumb as fuck, okay? Here's what he was talking about, all right? So, of course he hated the Gnostics. I think people look at him, and they look at his actual philosophy and theology, and they're like, well, this is basically the same thing. Like, you know, you got like a crazy transcendent one that resulted in the universe, and you're talking about basically the same thing in like slightly different words, so what's the fucking beef? He fucking hated Gnosticism, one, because I think he was jealous, right? It was popular. Like, as popular as Plotinus was, he didn't have like a cult dedicated to him. He was just popular because he was the most Plato-y guy, and everyone had to kind of pay him respect in that regard. But also, Gnosticism... Archon Vitality for Temple if you have it. I don't have Archon anything. I've never killed an Archon before. Speaking of Gnosticism... So... Gnosticism is a theology with a lot of keys, right? It's like, oh, you want to talk to the Godhead? All you gotta do is pray, dog! Don't even worry about it. Just read this book, go to church, like, throw yourself in a little bit of a Maynard trance. Like, it's all good. You can have visions of flaming lions all you want, right? Like, that... All the Valentinians were doing shit like that these days. Maybe. I don't know. Just Gnosticism in general. It's easy to talk to the Godhead. And Plotinus over here, who's very into this Nautilus Prime Cerebrum, I already have that, though. So he thought that was fucking stupid, right? He's like, you can't just talk to the Godhead. You gotta cultivate henosis, right? It's supposed to be this ultimate, completely, utterly transcendent one. You can't just pray. What are you, fucking stupid? It's beyond language, dingus. What do you think? You think that just because you've had some wine and worked yourself up into a ritual trance, you can talk to the Godhead? That's fucking dumb. You gotta read Plotinus, and then you gotta think about it real hard. He's like, you gotta read the Timaeus, and you gotta read your Plutarch, and you gotta have debates with other philosophers and discuss the nature of knowledge and what it even means to know something, and then maybe, you can kind of peek your head a little bit outside of the... You can cultivate a little bit of noesis and peek your head up just a little bit above Tsuke, right? He fucking hated the Gnostics. Of course he hated the Gnostics. Another thing that people said on fucking Twitter was like, it's like, I don't understand what his beef with the Zoroastrians, right? It's like, he kept blaming them for giving the Gnostics all these weird ideas about theology. I think he was a little bit racist. It's like, okay, he was a wealthy, like, North African Hellene in the 2nd century in Rome. Yeah, fucking, of course he was racist. All those dudes were turbo racist. He was fucking Roman. He was a wealthy Roman. All of those guys were amazingly racist. Even the fucking 2nd century Iranians were fucking super racist against everyone. Everyone was incredibly xenophobic for this time. Like, that's not a problem. Like, it's like, don't try to fucking cancel Plotinus, okay? It's not gonna work. They were all crazy racist. You seen what Romans thought about women? Like, it's not relevant here. But, of course he would have hated Zoroastrianism. Like, Zoroastrianism is like, listen, there's a good god and a bad god, and they're fighting over everything forever. Like, I can practically hear Plotinus in my ear going like, where the fuck did they come from, dumbass? Oh, you've got two gods and they arose from something? You think they came from like a primordial sea? And they were like some sort of divine like hermaphrodite that then like procreated with itself to create the god of good and the god of bad? Well, where the fuck did the primordial sea come from, huh? Dumbass, stupid, idiot. Try thinking about your theology for a little bit. You actually read my book and then come back to me. Because read my book about how I'm right about all theology, and then come back to why you're actually stupid and should have a better theology. He hated shit like that, right? Glad to hear there are active shooters for Plotinus on Twitter in the current year. Yeah, exactly. Guys who defend him on having principled opinions and don't care about the fact that he was probably turbo racist because he was an ancient Roman. Buy my book, fool. It proves why I'm right. But also, buying my book doesn't just prove why I'm right. Do I have an Ember Prime? I think so. We need more philosopher reenactors. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, he would have fucking hated, like... He hated all of these mythologies about, like the Orphic theology, where it's like, oh yeah, Phanes hatched from a divine egg. He was like, where the fuck did the egg come from, dumbass? Think about it. Think about things for 2 seconds. Maybe you'll learn something. Clearly, you haven't read the Enneads. Alcibiades at the BDSM roleplay. Where did the one come from then? It precedes time. It's above time. It doesn't come from anywhere. It's just the one. Like it's the one doesn't even exist. not in any way that you can comprehend, right? It didn't arise from anything, and it's not going anywhere because time doesn't exist or apply to the one, or have any relevance to the one in any meaningful way. I've actually heard about an Agrippa reenactor who goes around giving ghost tours at Ren fairs. That's kind of cool. The one got fucking tariffed, dog! Let me read over my notes here for a second. Yes, okay. I forget what Greek word it is, but Plotinus has, like, he relies on the power of imagination is a huge part, is a huge component of Plotinus, but it doesn't mean it in, like, your ability to be creative. That's not what he's talking about, right? He's talking, when he says imagination, or what is usually translated as imagination, he means a Greek word that is like your capacity to model the universe, like your ability to conceive of things, right? That's what nous does, right? Nous, like, that is the primary action, although, remember, like, nous does not undergo processes or actions. It just has internal properties that are transchronological. But the thing that it does is it conceptualizes the universe. It thinks about things, and in thinking about things gives rise to souls and forms. That's what your mind does, and that's the part of your mind that extends up into nous, right? The part of the thing that you consider you that extends all the way up to the divine nous, the thing that it does is imagine the universe. That whole thing of, like, whenever you see an apple, right, you are not like conceiving of an apple in the way that we think of it. It is already present within you, and you are simply turning what you consider your attention towards it. Do you guys have any questions? I need to turn the page on my notebook, but I need to play Warframe to do that. Just in general, we've talked about a lot of things. I've just kind of slapped a bunch of Plotinus against you. Like, I'm sure you guys have questions. He's a fucking crazy-ass philosopher. So when I see an apple, that's just an instance of the one brushing its little root tendrils. No, it's not the one, it's nous. Okay. The version of the one that you can meaningfully talk about is called the nous, right? That's basically wrong in every meaningful way. Like, if you're a student of classical philosophy, you'd be super mad at me saying that, but for all intents and purposes, that's what's happening, right? How does the monad and the one relate? Well, the one is like a type of monad, like in my understanding. Like, okay, actually, let me ask you, whose monad? Like, what philosopher's monad are you talking about here? Is there a good place to, like, cite this without reading the Enneads? Nope, you gotta read the Enneads. I'm sorry. There are, like, commentaries on the Enneads, but honestly, unless you've, like, tried to actually sit down and read the Enneads, it's not gonna do much. I'm sorry. Like, it's one of the most... No one reads Plotinus. Like, no one actually sits down and reads Plotinus. You gotta understand. Like, the fact that I've actually sat down and read the Enneads is kind of a pervert thing for me. Like, no one actually does that. Say the Hermetic monad, or Spinoza's nature. I'd say, like, Plotinus would consider the one prior to those monads, but for all intents and purposes, they are, like, similar to the one. Okay, you want to ramp up the fire speed on this thing. I already have Protea Prime. That's cool, though. Just cite the Enneads without reading it. Yeah, just make shit up. That'll be fun. If you want to read the Enneads and not learn classical Greek, is there a translation to go to? I have one. I can post it in the Discord. So that's why the sword in Xenoblade is the Monado? Is it? I don't know anything about Xenoblade. I don't really like those games. Thank you. I want to try doing a full read again, but last time I bounced off and skipped around. Skipping around is fine, right? Like, the Enneads are not organized in the order that Plotinus actually wrote them. Like, it's kind of... He's a bit weird in that way. In that, like, the shit that he... You never see his theology or philosophy develop. It's just like, it just comes out completely formed. It's weird. It's like how with the Tao Te Ching, you're supposed to read a bunch of translations and just fill in the gaps yourself. I don't know anything about the Tao Te Ching. Is there any modern branch of esoteric thought that engages with Plotinus outside of the concept of emanations as an unchanging system? Well, basically, like... Basically, all modern occultism goes back here. Like, yeah, okay. May is saying the sabbatic current, but it's like... all modern occultism goes back to this, because, like... Okay, the reason that I use the term late Platonism to describe what Plotinus was doing is, like, people call it Neoplatonist, but there's also the guys who, like... You got guys like Pico and Ficino, who, in the Renaissance, were, like, kind of reviving all of this, trying to revisit late Platonism. Those guys are the Neoplatonists, right? Given the void and conceptual embodiment and whatnot, I'm shocked that we haven't seen a single Grenier doing some Warhammer 40k orc shit. Yeah. Quantum mysticism is basically the noose with electrons and shit. Pico, yay! I would like to talk about Pico at some point. Pico's a lot of fun. Yeah, the Renaissance Neoplatonists kind of revisited all of this. And that's what, like, Pico and Ficino kind of laid the foundation for the Golden Dawn. Like, that's a lot of the conceptual foundation of the Golden Dawn. Do you think Plotinus would smoke weed? I don't know. I don't really know what ancient Greek, like, conceptions of, like, what their opinion of, like, doing drugs was. Because there's a lot, like, you've obviously got the Kikeon and the, like, ritual drugs that you would take, but I don't know if it, like, casual drug use was much of a thing, or if it was or wasn't. I don't know. Yup, getting ripped off that fucking Oracle Cave gas. You do it in the air? You can't do it in the air. Okay. Wine is already there. What else do you need? Yeah, that's true. They were big on getting drunk. They had a whole god for that. Dude, fuck yes, I got a Harrow chassis! I'll put it with the other 4,000 I have. Doing drugs outside of a religious context, if not blasphemous, would be like eating an unconsecrated host, just weird. I don't know if that's... Is that true? Yay, Argon. I'd like to revisit the, You know what? Why don't we do a little bit of a, little bit of a book club thing here. I was thinking for, like, basically for the book, I want to revisit, like, Greco-Roman lay magic. I was going to revisit the Daniel Ogden source book. So maybe I can find a little surreptitious paste bin copy of it and post it in the Discord, and we can all have a little bit of a read along when we meet next week. How's that sound? Strabo described a Thracian people who smoked weed and compared their use to weed. Huh, cool. Oh, compared their use to the Greeks using wine. I see. Interesting. Yay, book club? Yeah? Yeah, if you guys are down, I can at least post the sources. That could be fun. Oh, you have slowdown when you use it. Okay. Temple's cool. That's pretty neat. Would love a book club for this. Alright, yeah, that'll be fun. I don't want to, like, force you guys to read it or anything. I don't want to give you fucking homework, but I will at least, like, post what I'm reading. I'd like to do that. That sounds fun. Yeah, May, you're in so many book clubs. Also, because you guys have... Glaive Prime Disc, I need that. Okay. Because you guys have been good, I'm thinking of expanding the Discord, like giving you a proper chat channel and shit. I'm very wary about, like, setting up an actual occult Discord, but you guys have to behave yourself, okay? I don't want to have to fucking... I've had two fucking, like, unmoderated occult Discords before, and they were enormous disasters, and they pissed me off enormously. So if you don't behave yourself, I'm gonna get upset, all right? I don't want to have to, like, demand that any of you behave, all right? I don't want to have to treat you like children. But I do want to make this a more regular thing. I enjoy streaming. Unmoderated sounds like it would break bad pretty fast. Yeah, but it's also like the types of people who want to moderate occult discords are often also perverts. But, like, not perverts in a good way. Like, perverts in a really annoying way, and I don't like dealing with it. As someone who's never been in an occult Discord, just behave yourself mean in this context. Like, just don't fucking start fights and, like, claim that people misreading texts are, like, stupid. Like, I don't know, just, like, don't get in fucking fights in my server, okay? Don't do that. Like, don't make me deal with that. I just want to play video games and talk about philosophy, alright? I'm not here to, like, parent a bunch of people. I want to, okay? I want to give you guys more places to, like, talk to each other and hang out. But if you make it annoying for me, I'll have to do shit about it. Call people dweeb and dingus and shit. I don't know, man. Just, like, don't. If I get a message that's like, hey, this person in the server is, like, doing some weird shit or whatever, like, that'll make me mad. I don't want to have to deal with that. I will probably eventually have to have mods because, like, I don't know. A lot of people enjoy listening to me talk and watching me play video games. I'm taking it very slow, very intentionally, but I'd like to expand it a little more. I'd like to make this process as nice for everyone involved. I don't want you guys to have to deal with people getting into fights just like talking about wacky wizard shit, you know? Let's just all hang out. Let's be beautiful and wise. Peace and love on planet Earth, okay? Can you do that for me? Can you be beautiful and wise? Can you have it on my desk by Friday? Yay! I want a dancing emote. I want an EOW emote. I think because I'm not even an affiliate yet, I only get like 4 slots, but it's always good to like start thinking of that shit ahead of time. Forgot you streamt until Justin TV recommended you? Who is that? Who on Twitch is like, dude, my favorite occultist is playing Warframe and talking about Neoplatonism. Go watch them. I don't know who this Justin TV guy is, but he sounds like a freaking nerd. Justin TV is the old name for Twitch. Is it? I don't know anything, alright? Don't trick me. If you trick me, you're going against your fundamental oneness. You're betraying the Henosis, and you're going to be an embolism in reality. You learned that watching H. Ralvi? You think Dr. Justin Sledge plays Warframe? I don't think he plays any video games. He's old. He has, like, taxes to do and shit. Where am I? What's happening? What is this room? How do I get out of it? It's an elevator room. Okay.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Well, there's cardinals. I love them. My goal in Warframe recently has been to get all of the, I want to get every frame, right? That's my goal. I want to get every frame. I know there's a lot that are super fucking annoying to get, and we'll probably eventually get there, but for right now, I have new toys to play with. Hi, Gianni. Bye, Gianni. Wait, so I can do viral, magnetic, cold, and corrosion. Have I gotten Sight yet? Sight's so cool, yes. How long does this last? I do like that the only change in the Stalker fight in a decade is making him a single father. Yeah. I do like Dad Stalker. Also, what the fuck is his kid? Like... I see. Okay, okay.
Mission complete. Excellent work.
Let's see. Yeah, next week I want to talk about, like, more lay magic shit. Then we gotta talk about Hermeticism. That'll be fun. Maybe a little bit of a page on Orphism. Although, like, there isn't much Orphism to talk about, honestly. It's like... mentioning, like, for as influential as Orphism was on ancient magic, there's very little of it survives and very little of it to talk about compared to all the other shit that we have for everything else. Like what people think Orphism is, maybe. It's more like just like saying that it exists. Like, hey, there's a version of a creation myth and the whole thing of going underground and then coming back with knowledge and then getting dismembered by women. Like, that's really it. Barrow has resource boosters today. Ah, cool. I don't really need any resource boosters right now. Rescue, spy, crossfire, exterminate. Exterminate's been going good. Let's keep doing that. Some people don't even think they existed as a distinct tradition, but I'm not sure I agree. It's really hard to say. That shit's so long ago, and it's like... It's clearly widely influential, but it's also so poorly attested.
The tower's neural sentry is operational. I'm picking up multiple threats, all under Oregon control. Right from all
I don't know. I need to talk about Hermeticism. That has some meat, right? That's also probably where I want to at least mention that, like, hey, Egyptian magic and religion exists, but it's, like, honestly worth its own book. It's so complicated. Dumb question. Orphism is from all the Orpheus myths. Yes, that is true. They are. It is a mystery cult based around the Orpheus myth. And it was extremely influential on the ancient world and their conceptions of magic. Like, that's whoa, hey. Me when Heka. That's another thing. It's like all the people talking about, like, Hecate and, like, the witch cult and shit. It's like, we know nothing about this. Like, people are so set on, like, yeah, the like, ancient Greek witch cult. It's like, one, they never would have used that term. Like, and the actual, like, if there was an actual historical, like, cult of Hecate, there's no way that shit was, like, organized. Like, the people doing magic in ancient Greece were so diverse. Like, that's one of the things that you learn from the source book that I want to talk about next week, is, like, no, there wasn't just, like, one guy. It's like, oh, there's just magicians, and that was, like, a distinct set of people. It's like, no, there are, like, dozens of different subcategories that all had complex relationships to each other and the state and culture, and, like, there were like 3 or 4 different words for people doing magic with herbs of varying levels of, like, societal power and respect and what exactly they were doing and how they were referred to in general. Like, it's crazy how diverse ancient Greece was. Oh, Heka. Well, you mean the Egyptian term? Well, you mean the Egyptian term, but also Hecate, yes.
Excellent work, Tenno.
Yeah, Heka is like, it's like almost not magic. It's so complicated. Or not complicated, but it's so thoroughly interwoven to how Egyptian people saw the world and interacted with it and conceptualized religion and being in general, that it's like almost not magic. It's closer to, somebody earlier mentioned that it was closer to the Tao, and that's a little closer. Like, it's just so pervasive. That shit's interesting. I wish I could find better information about it. Are we going to talk about the ancient Egyptian magical miniature war games? That could be fun. I don't know if I could fill a whole, like, 2 hours talking about that, though. If you have a source on that, I'll open up, like, a channel in the Discord, post that shit. I'm always interested in, like, whatever you guys are pulling up and talking about. That shit's fun. Good Rex on folklore regarding herbs. Yeah, I was gonna post the Ogden source book, and you can go read through that. Hi, Foxy Cypher. Yeah, we're gonna keep going for a little bit. You've basically missed the Plotinus stuff. I've talked for a straight 2 hours yapping about Plotinus. We're just kind of playing Warframe now and talking about whatever. didn't appreciate how long the pre-Roman Hellenic mythos were around for. There was enough time for the cults to diverge so that Heracles was both man and god, and they needed to be politically neutral versions of the myth. Didn't offend one another. It was diverse. Like, don't believe what the Romans said about like how religion was received, you know? Like, it's very easy to take Roman religious writers as like, oh, this is how every Roman saw religion. It's like, no, like the idea that there was no atheism in ancient Rome, like, no, that's not, like, it was fundamentally interwoven with the apparatus and the movement of power within the state. Like, people knew it was bullshit, right? But they also knew that it was an important thing to do if you wanted to get promoted in the army, right? You had to like go bathe in oxblood or whatever. Like, it's an important, what the fuck? It's an important administrative and cultural aspect of the state and how the state projects power. People knew that it was bullshit, right? People knew that, like, you know, I don't think Ares is, like, real. Egyptian statue magic could definitely be a whole stream. Yup. God, I read this amazing book on ancient Egyptian alchemy that I need to track down and post a source for. Like, I found a copy of it online, but it's like, it's not available to the public unless you're like good at pirating. Like, it's so like poorly published. I need to track this down again and publish that shit. Maybe we'll make a paste bin or some shit. I don't know. It's like business retreats today. No, it's more like, okay, you know the flag ceremony in school, if you were American? Where it's like, oh yeah, I'm 11, and every Tuesday, all of my teachers get together, and we have to go, like, sing patriotic songs about the American flag. It's like, you all kind of know that this is a bunch of bullshit, but you just, like, you have to do it. I think that's kind of how a lot of religion in the classical world was seen. Like, people talk about ancient Romans as if they were, like, highly superstitious people who, like, had no ability to conceptualize that people might be lying to them. Like, that's bullshit. I think it was definitely widespread. Like, a lot of medieval Christians were very sincere about believing in God and all that shit. So I'm sure a lot of ancient Romans were the same way, but also, like, people definitely knew that it was maybe less than true. You had to do flag ceremony shit every day? That sucks, man. Counterpoint, we have good reason to believe that the mystery cults were life-changing, especially from reactions to the Eleusinian mysteries. That's true, right? Because it's like an experience that you can actually have. But, like, when going through the Eleusinian mysteries, and then, like, the state says if you want to get promoted in the army, you have to bathe in, like, the blood of a freshly slain bull, there's definitely a difference there, you know? Historians thousands of years from now are going to be so cooked. I don't know. I think there's like the fact that there's so much information that can be gleaned from like books found about our era is like really good for historians. People in the present talk about historical people's superstition like everyone isn't currently superstitious as hell. That's fucking true. The middle school next to my house broadcasts the pledge on loudspeakers every morning. That shit's weird. It's so weird.
There's a heavy unit approaching. Don't forget the reactant.
At my middle school, like, we all kind of knew that shit was bullshit. So we developed a game where, like, okay, it was the same presentation every time, right? Like, we sang the same songs in the same order every Tuesday or whatever. And there was always kind of a lull between songs where the music would fade out and then there'd be a couple beats as they readied for the next song. Well, we developed this game where right before the next song started, someone in the crowd would just go, there was a voice to it. You had to sound like Patrick Star or like some other cartoon Dunderhead type character. Right before the next patriotic song started, you'd go, 9/11! And it was a different kid every time, so that they could never figure out like who it was. They were it pissed off the administration so much. We weren't even like doing it to be little shits. We just thought it was funny to like kind of be annoying. Like we weren't like standing up to indoctrination or anything. It's just like, dude, it'd be funny if we said 9/11, and then we got a funny reaction from the adults, so we just kept doing it. I truly believe that, like, middle schoolers are the funniest people on the planet. Like, whoever's in middle and early high school right now, I can't hold a candle to them as an internet comedian. No comedian can. Late middle, early high schoolers are consistently the funniest people on the planet, and humor flows downstream of whatever they find funny. Ooh, Aklex Prime. I don't think I have that. Thank you, sir. You have to be funny to survive middle school? Yup.
Another job well executed.
Middle school is kind of crazy that we, like, make kids do all that shit. It's a trauma reaction. I don't know. I think kids are just funny. Like, I don't think everything has to be like a reaction to trauma. Like, middle school sucks. Don't get me wrong, but it's like kids aren't funny because something bad happened to them. You know, like it didn't create the funniness. I think kids are just funny. I think that it's just like it's the perfect mix in your life of like cognizance and life experience where you're still young enough that you haven't really been jaded by the universe and you're able to like think creatively and have a lot of opinions on different things. Like you've got a free young mind, but also you're smart enough that you can learn about like all the different crazy shit happening in the world, and it's all fresh and new to you, you know? It's like the Act Lex and Act Magnus Prime were already mid. Don't do me like this. I have a Lex Incarnon, I think. I'm joking, but middle school is an amazing combination of people with no idea what to do, trying to create social structures from stuff they saw on TV. Yeah, that's part of it. Although I am kind of repeatedly surprised by how middle schoolers, like, don't follow those blueprints. Like, at least back when I was in, like, middle and high school, like, that image of American high school and the social hierarchies within was already kind of not a thing that people really ascribe to. Like, if you tried to do that shit, you were kind of weird. But we had other shit going on. I also went to a weird high school. So my experiences are not universal. But it's a very strange period in development where you have simultaneously a lot of things available to you, but it's fresh and new in your brain. Almost feels like middle school and high school are one big writer's room where jokes constantly bounce around and develop. Yeah, and a lot of them are super mean, you know? Hi, ma'am. Did you enjoy your nap? Hi, yes. Okay, you're gonna go under the bed? Cool. Catch you later, baby girl. Yeah, Mickey woke up. She likes to sleep in my laundry basket under my bed. So she woke up from bedtime and now she's gonna go take a nap. Hi, Fibonacci. Someone who I think is roughly the same age, I would agree that the shape of things not really being that of how the culture imagines it, but it's also more the values and importance placed on certain aspects were based on what people thought they should be, if that makes sense. Not really, but go off, King. I do like Fibonacci. He's a fun character.
The relic has been cracked open. Finish your mission to find out what's inside.
Shoot the valve to release pressure.
Yay, Valves. I was in high school like 2 years ago. The struggles are completely different now. That's the sense I get. Like, shit's fucking different now. It's... I don't know if it's better, but it's certainly different. Like, social media fucking hit American culture at least like a fucking hammer. I'm sure that's true pretty much everywhere, but I was there for the American culture bits. After online learning? Oh yeah! God, I feel so fucking... My younger brother had to fucking... Like, COVID hit during his senior year of high school, like, and then had to, like, go college hunting during the pandemic. Like, just got completely fucked by an accident of history. Like, it took him a while to get into college. He's in now. Like, don't worry about him. He's doing fucking great, and we're all super proud of him, but it's like... Like... That's rough, buddy. That's just rough. I don't know how to sugarcoat that. That just fucking sucks, man. Seeing the first handful of generations who grew up with access to internet funny people. Yeah. People talk about how, like, online isn't real, like, it's not real culture, and that's, like, not true. Like, online is super real. Online is very real. Like, it's just culture now. It's like saying that TV isn't real. It's like, yeah, it's not real in the sense that there's, like, actors and shit, but, like, it affects culture. It is culture. A friend of mine is a high school teacher. She regularly tells stories about the insane shit that happens to their students. It's like, kids have always been doing insane shit. It's just, like, new insane shit, you know? My mom is a teacher, and she had stories from the pandemic of, like, the shit that she would see parents doing, like, on the webcams is, like, she had a great point where it was, like, all the shit at home that you used to be able to hide for, like, 2 years, like, people saw all of it. Like, we could see everything that was happening at home, and a lot of it was not pretty. Like... Nightmare world. A little bit. It's like, it's the same world, but we're just, like, getting a little bit of a different perspective on it, you know? But, like, being confronted with that shit is different.
Results from the interplay of electricity and toxicity.
COVID hit my senior year of high school. First years of college were uncomfy and awkward and sucked a whole lot. At least we were on campus in person rather than in groups who were online. Yeah. No, I was kind of set for COVID. Although I had to, fuck, that was around when I moved into a new apartment, and, like, I was helping out some friends who, like, their living situation got fucked up by COVID. Like, they were in student housing, and we had to figure some shit out in, like, a less than nice part of LA, and I was there for a little bit. But man, that it was such a, like, defining moment in culture, and it's weird to remember that all that shit happened, you know? Your grades went up during COVID? So I just cheated? Honestly, a controversial take, but I'm, like, low-key in favor of, like, just straight-up academically cheating. Like, so much schoolwork is just meaningless bullshit. Like, if you can lie on a test, just fucking do it. Like, who cares, man? If you're in high school and listening to this, don't listen to me, but, like, it's fine. I hated school, man. I couldn't stand it. There's a lot. I keep seeing shit. It's just like people assigning essays and then getting the papers back and, like, realize, like, they're like, oh, this paper's an A. It's like, I just learned that it was, but actually I learned it was written with, like, ChatGPT or something. I was like, what kind of teacher, like, You, like, you gave out an essay, and you got it, and you gave it an A, and then you learned it was from ChatGPT? Like, are you stupid or something? Like, if ChatGPT can pass your essay class, I feel like there's something wrong. Schoolwork is a good idea, but the execution is poor a lot of the time. Yeah, it's like I've had some fun with some assignments, but it's like very specific things. I was homeschooled through high school and never left the house when COVID hit. Literally nothing changed. Yeah. Shared my homework in school. Some people knew. A lot of, like, what pisses me off is that a lot of things that are considered, like, sharing homework are, like, normal collaboration on projects that is, like, a thing that you do in your adult life all the time. Like, I don't know how to do this. Maybe I should ask somebody who knows how to do it. Like, how is that cheating? That's, like, a lot of people's job. Oh, man. That shit's funny. Like so many tests in school are like, all right, lock yourself in a room with no help and no books, and you can't look anything up, and you just need to, like, do the test. Like, what? Nothing in the world works like that anymore. Like, you can look shit up. You can look at the book. You can ask people for help. Like, they don't grade you individually when you're, like, being a software developer and shit. Took an existentialism course senior year, and it was great. The teacher was a liberal. Derogatory, though. Many such cases, yeah. Yeah, I have a shit memory. I have to have notes and everything. Like, part of the reason I think I'm funny is that I have an easier time remembering shit if I put it into, like, a comedy routine. You know, with, like, because that's something that follows logically, you know? Like, if you can organize information into, like, a setup and punchline and follow through and shit, makes it easier to remember. Like, you're like, oh, remember the joke about, like, Henry Ford making the car or whatever. Like, that shit makes sense to me. It's easier for me to remember. It's a famous anecdote about giving a bunch of engineers a test at some conference, and they instantly forgot how they'd been working for decades. Yeah, no, for real. Like, it doesn't mimic how shit works. I don't know. School sucks, am I right, fellow cool tweens? All right, I think that's basically where we're going to wrap it for today. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. This was a blast. This is a really good way to, like, keep myself on track research-wise. So I hope that you'll join me next week. We'll talk about some Greek lay magic. I'll have some reading. Maybe you can peruse it. You don't have to. I don't want to give you homework. I'm also your teacher. You have to do it, and you're gonna get a bad grade at being a chatter next time.